You have to know this. The fact that I'm here matters. The fact that you're there matters. This is no accident. None of us are.
If you do not have style, you just say, well, here I am, you know, as a human being. How can I express myself?
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
There is no way around it. You have to jump.
And we are calling it iPhone.
نريدها قوما ونهضة إسلامية.
I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream.
It's about yes we can. Yes, we can.
تشاد هيرلى شاب في مقتبل العمر واجه مشكلة بسيطة مع أحد زملاء العمل، وهي أنه كره الأسلوب التقليدي لنقل أو مشاركة مقطع فيديو، فاخترع يوتيوب. بعد عام ونصف من هذا المشروع تمكن هو وشركائه الاثنين ببيع يوتيوب بقيمة تتجاوز 1.67 بليون دولار لجوجل، فتحول لأكبر أرشيف في العالم. يوتيوب قصة أحداثها سريعة ولكن تفاصيلها كثيرة. دعونا نناقش صاحب هذه القصة الساكن في هذا البيت عن كل هذه التفاصيل. تشاد هيرلى.
With its $1.65 billion U.S. buy-up of YouTube.
YouTube for $1.65 billion in stock.
Google bought YouTube for $1.65 billion.
Thank you, YouTube community.
Hello, Chad.
Hello, Osman.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you
for
for having us in your house.
Yes, thanks for coming. Pleasure having you.
And congratulations for the Eagles.
Oh yes, go Birds.
Thank you. After you.
Yeah, please. After you.
Thank you. You created YouTube. How does that feel?
You know, it's something I've never really had a chance to truly reflect upon. I mean, I think, you know, when I hear stories about people and how it's touched their lives is when it really kind of hits home that I've created something meaningful. But kind of this whole experience, and even though it's been 12 years since we created YouTube, I think that the true impact of this simple idea and what we empowered people to do and spread their ideas and talents around the world really hasn't even truly like sunk in, to be honest with you. So it's something I still, you know, get excited when I pick up the newspaper and read about how someone has had a chance to use YouTube as a way to spread their thoughts around the world.
Chad, before the director says action, when I'm expressing about the main pillars that we'll be talking about today, I mentioned like saying that making YouTube was easy. I didn't feel myself, but I said it this way because it looks like it's beautiful, simple, but it changed a lot. Was it easy to build YouTube?
Well, in terms of the concept, yes. I mean, what we really wanted to do is just allow people to upload a video, any format, to the site, that we would do all of the technical work to make that work behind the scenes, so when someone came to the site, they could search and find something to play and share with anyone else around the world. So technically, kind of behind the scenes, yeah, there was a lot of things we needed to do, but the basic concept was really simple. And I think why YouTube has appealed to so many people is because there's so much content there. It's a window to the world. No matter who you are or where you come from, there's a piece of content that's going to appeal to you.
All the people know the story. You had a need between you and your friend and how to share a video, but that moment, did you feel the need for everyone, or it was your only personal need? Which is
well, yeah, I mean, we truly were looking at it as a personal way for us to share videos with our family and friends. That we had these, at the time, digital cameras.
Yes.
It's kind of before the days that our phones really had a camera, let alone video capabilities on a phone, a camera. So we just had these extra files that were sitting on our desktop. Yeah. Flickr would allow you to upload a photo, but there was no video option. Yes. So how do we share these videos that we take you know, of ourselves and our friends and our family, and that's really why we created the site.
All right, so here we are in front of the elephants. Cool thing about these guys is that they have really long fronts, and that's cool. And that's pretty much all there is to say.
The story was built on three people. Who first felt that it would be a huge thing, or you never felt that?
Well, we never felt that. We joked about the fact that there was a plan all along. From day one on the whiteboard we're plotting our world domination. But no, I mean you can never plan for that. We just were really fortunate to be in the right place at the right time. When people had the devices in their hands to take these videos, when people had the connections to not only upload these videos but also view them, and then we just were fortunate to have a really great team behind. A brand that people could relate to, a name that people could connect to, and it's a bigger part of the story. It's like when you have all of those things, you can kind of create the perfect storm, and we're really fortunate to have the success.
We'll go back to that huge, amazing story about YouTube, but before that, let me please go back for your early days when you took the decision to choose art as your next big educational level in college.
Well, it wasn't my initial decision. I always had a love for art, but my first semester in college was actually in computer science, because I felt like that's where I'll get a better job than being an artist, of course. But after a semester taking computer science, my university, Indiana University of Pennsylvania, they opened a new computer lab in the art center. So then I decided, well, they have computers there, so I can switch back to being an art major and focus on being graphic designer. I just really always just kind of followed my gut, in my dreams, and that's what I felt was best. I didn't really know what it was gonna turn into, but upon graduating, that's what led me to my first job out here in Silicon Valley, was being the first designer for PayPal.
And this is what it was. It was a conflict between us and the team. We didn't yet agree. You had an input on the logo of PayPal. It isn't the final shape. Am I right?
Yeah, well, they've since changed it. Even YouTube has since changed their logo, unfortunately. They can't hold on to good design. They need to keep changing it. But the original logo for PayPal and also YouTube were designed by me. But it was also just going beyond just that brand identity. It was the service itself. I mean, we were defining payments at the time that didn't exist. How do you define a way to send payments and receive money online, and how do you do that for auction listings on things like eBay? These are all things we were just making up and designing because it didn't exist yet. And the same way, there weren't really video services that existed in the same way when we first got started. So that's just a bigger, it's not a graphic type of design, but it's product design. You're trying to figure out a way that people relate to something that doesn't exist yet, and I'm really fortunate to have figured that out.
People in the world know you as a leader, as a boss in YouTube, and the whole world knows how it is when you're the boss or when you're the owner. But as an employee, those days, are you that good as an employee?
As an employee of Google after the acquisition?
No, before.
Oh, even
PayPal.
Before. Okay. PayPal, yeah. I mean, I think I was decent. I hope I was okay. But yeah, I mean...
What's the difference? What's the difference instead of being an owner or an employee? What?
Well, for me, I didn't really see much of a difference, because when you first start on these teams, be it PayPal or YouTube, there was such a small team that everyone was doing everything with each other. I mean, yes, you had a specific role, but everyone was trying to figure out these problems. So, trying to define, well, what do we call these pages where you put your videos? Do you call them profiles? Because at the time, MySpace existed, and you had your MySpace profiles. Do you call it a feed of videos? And someone on the team just said, hey, we'll call them channels. So we're going to relate this idea to TV, that you're publishing video, you create a channel, you subscribe to a channel. And this is an idea that just someone on our team came up with. So it kind of speaks to how I had felt as a boss as well. When we initially started designing YouTube, yes, I was technically the CEO, but at the same time, I'm still working on the website. I'm still implementing features. I'm still trying to figure out how people are going to share these videos. So no matter what your title is within the company, at least within the early days of a startup, you're doing everything.
Then how do you react? There's a famous saying by saying that being a tail in a lion or a head on a dog. I don't know if you heard this phrase before. They say that it's better always to be the head, even if it is a dog, rather than being a tail in a lion. Do you think that this is true?
Of course, yeah, I agree with that. Of course, you want to be in the front. You want to be making the decisions. You don't want to just be kind of following along behind. I think that yes, that even in the case of a startup, yeah, you want to be the head. You want to be kind of be the final decision maker. But at the same time, it's a collaborative process. That's why Silicon Valley is a different type of thing that hasn't necessarily existed before, because input across the company is very important. And yeah, even if you're head or the tail, you're going to have input into what the body actually does. So, yeah. But for me, I think at the end of the day, yeah, the animal lives or dies by what's happening in the head, and you ultimately have to trust your gut again, make the right decisions, and hopefully, at the speed at which YouTube was growing, we were fortunate again to make the right decisions along the way. Because you don't have time to think, you just need to react, and be it the growth, surviving, the growth in terms of the technical challenges of surviving by building enough servers, by having enough bandwidth to serve all these videos, not only store them, and then figuring out how to deal with all of the other issues that come along with hosting the world's videos. You have to make decisions. You have to try to do what's best for the community.
You created something that is part of everyone in the world, but we know it as YouTube. You had the chance to name it something else. Who named it YouTube? What was the options, or it was the only option you had?
Again, I came up with the name because, hence the designer side of me, just creating and thinking and, trying to come up with something interesting. I thought it was a fun name. It was short. It kind of described what we were trying to achieve, and it was playful at the same time. So in terms of the playful side, there's sayings for TVs, calling them either idiot boxes or boob tubes. The fact that you watch this thing and it makes you stupid. So YouTube was a play on that, but to me it represented personal television, a way to broadcast yourself. And that's why the name resonated with me. And then also the fact that the domain was available helped a lot. We were able to register a domain that actually wasn't registered yet, helped.
In such a business model, there is no supply. Usually numbers can be guessed, or you can plan what numbers you're expecting. But for such a type of business, the supply is people. As much as they want to upload, there will always be supply. But when was the moment when you felt that, I know that plan, your strategy, it wasn't doing the right thing that you planned. You thought about 30, 40 million, and suddenly it's billions. Mm-hmm. When was that moment when everything flipped?
I mean, I think it's some of those moments when you start reading about yourself in the newspaper, when you start seeing references to yourself in TV, and in terms of what I mean in terms of not just as a business that YouTube's growing and this is a video business, but popular cultural references. People referring to you in late night entertainment kind of programming. And one example is Bill Gates was giving a keynote speech, and he would usually open in his keynote with a funny video of himself doing something for his audience. I think it's Microsoft's Mix conference or something they had. But in this particular year, he'd said instead of doing showing his typical video that they would produce and shoot and show the audience, he would just search for himself on YouTube. Oh. And of course, you found videos like things saying like Bill Gates runs like a girl and all these funny videos of people mocking him and just showing that content to the audience instead. So it's those little moments when you start seeing people referring to you not as a business but as a product, kind of when you start realizing it's becoming a bigger part of society and popular culture.
شاب خجول حتى أنه اعتذر جدا على عدم السماح لنا بالدخول حتى يتسنى له إنامة طفله الرضيع. هو بالجد متواضع حتى أنه بعد أن تم أحد أكبر صفقات العصر عاد مع شركائه على الدرجة السياحية ليحتفلوا ببيع يوتيوب إلى جوجل. You are, since the first moment, it seems clear that you are not a person that shows off. You're really a decent person, and we really respect and honor that. But I'm sure that you know that many people around the world look up to you. But you, who did you look up to when you were young?
Who do I look up to? Well, I mean, of course, everyone now and recently has looked up to Steve Jobs and what he's been able to accomplish. I mean, with his career, obviously, everyone aspires to be the next Steve Jobs. But when I was growing up with my art background, I always looked to Walt Disney and what he was able to produce. I mean, actually, growing up, I always dreamed about becoming a Disney animator, just in terms of having that association of creating entertainment and creating, something special with your art. And I think, Walt Disney was able to create literally this entire world, Walt Disney world of around his ideas, his characters, his thoughts, and he was always someone that inspired me.
You did what you love, and you always say when you do something that you love, you reach success at a certain point. What you can tell us more about this, doing what you love, is it that important?
It is important, because life's not very long, and you have to have fun along the way. And if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then what are you doing it for? I mean, that's
for money, maybe.
Yeah,
for money.
Money makes things easier, makes life easier, but it doesn't solve all your problems. I think successful people, truly successful people, that are happy with what they're doing, they're not necessarily driven by the money. They're driven by either the effect that they're having by what they're doing, or what results from it. And personally, I feel fulfilled and lucky to have had the chance to have created YouTube, and I'm still on a journey now at post YouTube, trying to figure out what's next. What do I truly enjoy doing? I don't feel like there's this need that I'm chasing. What will make me the most money after YouTube? What is going to be the next success? I'm always asking myself, what am I going to enjoy doing next? What problem will I want to solve? And that's how we approach PayPal, with payments in a way. I mean, I just wanted to move out here to become a designer and help this company figure out payments. It was more a curiosity that drove me. And the same way, even when we started YouTube, it was a personal project really for ourselves. I mean, of course, through the success of PayPal, we aspired to have that same result with YouTube. Could have never imagined what it turned into, but really just enjoyed what we were creating. Personally enjoyed uploading and watching these videos from around the world to kind of start populating the site. That in itself was like truly fulfilling. And I think you never know if something's going to be successful or not, so you better have fun along the way while you're doing it.
Business became similar to sports. People achieve success in a very early age. It wasn't that way a long time ago. What are the benefits of that? Reaching a point, very, very high point, in very early age. There is negativity, positivity?
Well, I think it's both. I mean, yeah, of course, you have the positivity of being able to enjoy more things in life. Travel and have all the physical things that you would need to enjoy life. But I think that also there, it's a double-edged sword. You're also then kind of trapped by your past successes in a way that people are kind of upholding you to what you created in the past, expecting you to do more. And if that comes or not, that's a great thing. But you have to realize that you had been fortunate, you had been lucky to some extent to have achieved those things in the past. We were in the right place at the right time, but we put ourselves in a position to succeed. And really, I'm just kind of trying to keep that lens on that, to kind of look into the future in terms of what I want to pursue in the future. And really what I've been doing recently is just some sports investments. I've invested in Golden State Warriors. I've invested in LAFC, which is a new soccer club starting in LA next year. And these are more because I have a personal interest in sports. And also just I believe it's a great investment for media in the future.
We'll be talking more about money and where did you invest your money, because everyone loves your money and they're looking where did you put your money.
Of course.
But before reaching that point, evaluation is always something depends on how do you see things. So from where did the evaluation came when Google evaluated YouTube in this price, 1.67 or 1.65, around this figure? From where did that evaluation came from?
It was completely made up. There was really no basis for any of the numbers, but other than the...
Who did the numbers? So it was only two of you guys. One of you left already. So who did the evaluation? Who said now we'll sell it for 1.67?
Well, really, Steve and myself, we would talk about these things because, it doesn't really seem like it's real at the time in terms of like, what should we expect, or where should we sell? What's our number? A lot of those negotiations were done by our CFO, Gideon Yu. He spoke with David Drummond, kind of their lead business guy, and at Google, and they just kept talking about numbers. Gideon would be talking about what it would take us to agree to sell. I think at the end of the day, we were targeting like 1.5 to sell. It ended up like 1.65, but after the transaction closed, it was 1.73, but who's really counting?
I'm counting. And I'm not counting, believe me. Let me stop you here because there is a huge question. Yes, we know that there is studies. You even did your own study and business plan, but all your numbers became wrong, but in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wrong that you expected millions, then it turns to be billions of views and uploads. So if it was 1 billion, isn't that enough? I mean, it's who has the power? Was it you? Was it Google? You were forced that that YouTube might die if not Google.
Yeah, that's how we felt. And I still feel like we were very fortunate to be acquired because I truly don't think YouTube would be here today without the support of Google. It was expensive to run the service from a technical perspective, from streaming and storing all these videos. But the bigger threat was that from traditional media, accusing us of copyright infringement and the threat of lawsuits. Even though we were doing the most in the industry, we were building tools, we were automating the DMCA process, which is the process to remove videos or have them requested to be removed. We were doing audio and video fingerprinting. We were introducing new models for the music industry and others to not only identify and take down this content, but to identify and monetize it, creating new models for them to make revenue. Didn't exist. We were doing all this stuff, but they were still threatened by our growth. Even Google themselves had a competing product with Google Video, which would have been one of the reasons why we would have died, because even their business side, trying to cut deals, were telling everyone in the world that we were the bad guys, which they had this then apologize for after the acquisition, say, oh, didn't really mean it, but so everyone was against us. We would have needed to raise more money, and we could have raised hundreds of millions of dollars in funding, but it would have just put a bigger target on our back, and I think ultimately, would have destroyed YouTube. I mean, Google themselves spent hundreds, if not $1 billion or more dollars fighting Viacom, ultimately winning that lawsuit. But it allowed us to survive. It allowed this opportunity for all these creators to survive, which was really more meaningful for us. It was an opportunity for a new generation of creators to have a platform to reach the world, for it not to have to go through just specific gatekeepers of the studios and the networks of the world for them to determine what the viewers would want, but have this new stage where everyone could participate. And luckily we ended up at Google where it had a chance to survive, and it did.
Hi YouTube, this is Chad and Steve. We're the co-founders of the site, and we just want to say thank you. Today we have some exciting news for you. We've been acquired by Google.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks to every one of you guys that have been contributing to YouTube, the community. We wouldn't be anywhere close to where we are without the help of this community. Thanks a lot.
You repeated surviving for YouTube multiple times in the answer, but is it really what happened that YouTube survived the way that you wanted YouTube to survive? Didn't YouTube changed? It's now not the democratic platform or tool like the one that you wanted?
Yeah, we always would talk about democratizing the video creation process. To the extent we were able to create that, I think YouTube has grown to such an extent that for Google it was hard from an advertising perspective to continue to operate that way, to still have this safe space for everyone to participate. But it always comes down to a balance. Mm-hmm. They're still trying to define and strike that balance of YouTube as a platform and who can participate and who can receive funds from advertising, trying to create these levels of.
I know your hands is not on fire right now. You've sold YouTube already.
It's not my problem.
You left them, but let me tell you something. This is from my personal experience. As I told you, I worked on a certain advertisement for a certain automobile company, and when we wanted to do the campaign, they told us no, stop. We and other different brands, we stopped dealing with YouTube anymore because they're not doing limitation for the content, and it turned that YouTube surrendered in a way or another for those demands. Don't you feel those demands were in a bit way they were right? There is no limitation. There was blood or hate speech on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that was necessary? Certain borders.
Yeah, I mean, we always set out even from the beginning. I think that was another thing that made us different than other video services that existed at the time, was that we defined a clear set of community guidelines of what we expected of this site. No explicit content, violent content, hateful content. All these other services were growing off the backs of it, allowing all of that stuff. We tried to do our best to keep it off the site. We also made it available for viewers to flag content. So, we were the largest video service having the most amount of content, but we always had the largest amount of viewers, the largest community proactively flagging and notifying us of content that should remain on the site. And because we had things like video and audio fingerprinting, the system would become more intelligent over time. So as you would see this content, make the right decision to block and keep things and restrict things off the site when necessary. So it created an as safe as an environment as you could for the size as it was. And I think Google is still dealing with a lot of those issues, still trying to implement technology, still trying to have a team of people reviewing stuff that's being flagged to keep it off the site. But even Google is still dealing with negativity from traditional media. I mean, a lot of these controversies are coming from, the people that still hold those traditional media companies in the palms of their hands. The Murdochs of the world are really creating a lot of these controversies around YouTube because they don't want to see it succeed. They want to see the advertisers come off the site. So there's not this new option for a creative class to exist outside the traditional ecosystem. So Google's still dealing with kind of that paranoia.
Mentioning the traditional media, the traditional media gave us a different look to the world. So whatever is there in the TV, it shows that this is what's important. But after YouTube, many people believe that it's different. The interest of people is not what we were seeing on TV. So for example, a huge name like Larry King, one of our guests in the show, his numbers comparing to another silly video, it shows where is the interest. It wasn't something that people were used to. So it's really pure democracy, if we can say.
Yes.
You can't force people to see something or to see something else. But isn't that another proof that democracy sometimes is not the best thing to take a society to a better level?
Yeah, for better or worse, people are going to watch things and do things online that, a traditional source like a newspaper or television isn't going to show you. Justin Bieber came from YouTube.
Sure.
Is that a good or bad thing? Who knows? But I think that, I ultimately believe in the power of the internet, the fact that there's open and free discussions, ways for people to communicate and share their ideas. People are going to take advantage of that, and I think what's happened in the most recent election, it's going to open up a lot of people's eyes here in the U.S. and abroad in terms of how people can be manipulated and how easy it is to trick people into thinking or giving them misinformation about things. So I think this is kind of what people are trying to figure out and define. It, you know, for us, when we started, it was more, you know, how do you deal with copyright? Which in a way seems like a lot easier way to come up with a solution in terms of who owns something and how to deal with it versus, you know, is this a right or wrong opinion? And is it true or not? How do you define that moving forward? So I'm just glad I've sold YouTube to Google. They need to figure it out.
كان للتلفاز الأثر الكبير في تحديد من يفوز في سباقات الرئاسة الأمريكية عندما كان السباق ما بين كينيدي ونيكسون، حيث شاهد الملايين المناظرة بشكل حي. تفوق كينيدي صاحب المظهر الشاب الجميل على نيكسون بسبب هذه المشاهدة الحية. فإن كان للتلفاز حق ودين على كينيدي، فهناك دين أكبر برقبة أوباما تجاه يوتيوب. فلأول مرة تنقل المناظرة ويشاهدها مئات الملايين حول الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، والتي صبت لصالح الرئيس أوباما. Yes, you've mentioned politics, and everyone knows that TV debates did a huge impact. Many believe that Kennedy won against Nixon because of the TV debate. And also, many people believe that YouTube gave a better chance for Obama to win.
Yes.
Do you believe that?
Yes, YouTube helped Obama and Twitter helped Trump.
So I vote for YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to talk about politics, but you created a tool that gave us a different angle of understanding democracy. And I mean by that, type of content people like. People know what's wrong and know what's right, but they not do specifically the right thing. So views and number. Now, a testimony of a hero wouldn't get the views of Gangnam Style, for example. So, what is your opinion towards democracy? Is the pure democracy a right choice to lead a country?
I think so. I think that you need to empower people with their own decision-making abilities. You need to do the best you can to inform them. And I think YouTube, what it represents is a platform that allows everyone to participate. There's a lot of people that wouldn't have had a chance to be seen if YouTube didn't exist. Wouldn't have a chance to make a living today if YouTube didn't exist. And there's a lot of other people out there as well that are sharing mindless pieces of content. But in a way, it's entertaining people. It's giving people a break from reality, you know, something else, you know, that they could be wasting their time on, you know, playing some random app, playing, you know, Candy Crush or whatever. I mean, I think what we live in today is a society that likes wasting time. And hopefully we're giving them more ways to not only waste time, but be informed along the way and make better decisions.
Yeah, when we talk about YouTube, we talk about politics, we talk about art, but there is also every single person has his own way of using this platform. We understood that you never uploaded a video on YouTube.
I did it very early on, but I've removed them since. You know, I think for me, when we started YouTube and the way I've always approached it, I didn't want to make it about myself. I truly did. You know, it could have been easy to become a YouTube star, promote my own videos, and rise to the top of the list. But we were creating a service for others, and I didn't think it was appropriate for us to upload videos ourselves. We're here to support everyone else.
As a consumer, how do you deal with YouTube right now? What is the best thing about YouTube for you personally?
Well, I just look for all those mindless videos to waste time on. No, the way I personally use it is really just it's become part of the web. It's become part of, you know, my daily experience of consuming news because it exists everywhere, be it in my Twitter feed or when I'm browsing other websites. There are YouTube videos embedded, and they're the ones I'm consuming because they're associated with other pieces of information. It's not that I'm going to YouTube to search out a specific type of content. And I think sometimes there are people in those situations that do that. They not only just looking to waste time or maybe be informed, and in terms of being informed, from someone's opinion, but it's really also become just a resource for how to do something, passing on knowledge, how to fix a car, how to tie your tie, how to bake cookies. I mean, there's all these, you would say, mindless things, but they're actually people passing knowledge on to others. That YouTube's become the largest resource in of how to do anything in the world.
Knowing the information that Saudi Arabia or many of my region, the Middle East, are the top users of the thing that you've made, of course per capita, what does that make you understand, or how do you look to that, knowing that Saudi Arabia is #1 using YouTube in the world right now?
Well, I just, again, what I said earlier is just, I think what YouTube has truly created, the way I've described it many times, is creating a window to the world. So no matter who you are, where you're coming from, if you're sitting here in California or out in Saudi Arabia, you have access to the same information. You can see and experience things you otherwise wouldn't see through your TV, what traditional media is trying to tell you. You can, and it's not, it doesn't have to be politically motivated. You can simply just see, what the hills of California look like. Someone's taking a hike through the woods. Someone's experience in Saudi Arabia in touring some of the beautiful architecture out there. People getting those personal insights and seeing that, this individual is just like me. We share the same thoughts and dreams. It doesn't have to be polarized and put through traditional media. We don't have to look that different. We could be the same people going through a drive-through at McDonald's and ordering a hamburger. Different places of the world, but we're still experiencing the same things. I think that's one of the things that people really appreciate on YouTube, is that it doesn't have to be a professional production. It can simply be someone sharing their experience, and I think that's what people appreciate.
Is being smart the reason that made you build YouTube?
Oh no, not at all. No, I think we were just really fortunate to be in the right place at the right time, and it's not about being smart. It's about I think it's about two things: about being creative, or actually three things. Being creative, being curious, and being intuitive. I think you need to look at things around you, and look for small insights that hopefully have a bigger impact or a more profound effect. It's not some big revelation of like E = mc squared or anything like that. You don't have to be a genius to create anything. It's just you just need to observe these fundamental things that are slowing someone down from accomplishing something. So in our case of YouTube, it was that, okay, I have a video, but I don't know what format it is. I don't know how to upload a specific format that the service is asking for, and I don't want to download some software to deal with it. So we said, well, give us every format that you have. We'll re-encode that video on our side and serve it back in Flash video, which would allow people to play a video without thinking about it, because Flash Player was embedded on like 98% of the browsers at the time, and all these other services were asking you to download Windows Media Player, QuickTime, Real Player, and at the same time there was hundreds of different video codecs that you could take with cameras. So just that simple insight, we're like, well, we'll just remove all that hard work for people and make it easy for people to upload it, but also people to view it. That was one of the things that allowed us to grow and to become a success. But I don't look at it as something like we were more intelligent than anyone else. We just kind of looked at this and thought it was pretty obvious that we, based on how we're interacting, that we need to implement this.
While we're coming here, and I exactly remember the conversation that all the team had in the car, discussing what is the first thing to do after signing a deal with, as you said, 1.7 something. So I told them, before you answer, let me tell you that Chad and his partner came back on economy class. Was that true?
No, what we did after signing the deal Well, first, we just simply walked across the street to TGI Fridays. You know, it's not the fanciest place in the whole world, but we had some appetizers and drank some beers with the team. That's all we did. A few weeks after that, we ended up taking the original team out to Vegas, and we had more fun. But yeah, there was, again, it's sort of the same way of kind of approaching and thinking about what YouTube has done, you know, has it affected my life. There wasn't any big, you know, purchase or kind of fancy thing that we did initially after the acquisition. It was like, okay, great, this thing's going to survive. YouTube's going to give us the resources to take things to the next level.
Sorry, I'll interrupt you.
Go.
Please answer me. Didn't you go back on economy class, back to wherever you were from? Was that true?
Back to the
I saw an article talking about after you signing the deal, you went back using an economy class. Wasn't that true?
No, I didn't. I never heard that story.
Okay. You ruined it.
Okay.
It was much more better.
Okay. Well, my story, yeah, we just went to TGIF. That's all.
So, going back with this amount of money, it means a new life. It means a next step. And you had all options. You had the chance to invest in every single thing. What was your first choice?
In terms of investment, I don't know. I can't really think what was my first investment after the YouTube acquisition. I think it's, you know, just doing what your typical financial advisor says, you know, diversify in the stock market, whatever. Just let them deal with it.
and for me, I had the opportunity to meet Mr. Steve Forbes, which is famous by having his list of millionaires and billionaires, and we talked a lot about richness. When was the moment where you felt that you're rich?
Felt like I was rich. I don't know. I fortunately, I don't think I still feel that way. I don't know. Again, yeah, you can enjoy the wealth, but there's still this sense that nothing's changed, which hopefully is a good thing for myself.
Going back now, if you had the chance to give a lesson after this huge achievement, just imagine telling your son that advice. What would you tell him?
Well, I mean, I tell him to pursue what he loves, whatever that may be, and I think that was to stay creative and curious along the way, to again trust your gut. I mean, I think all these things that have led me to where I am today is kind of the similar themes of just kind of, you know, kind of being pushed, not necessarily pushed, but just kind of naturally led in this direction, just based on, you know, where I was, who I was with, what I decided. Nothing I felt in my life has really been that intentional. I feel like I've been really blessed and fortunate to have just kind of followed, you know, what I felt at the time, and it's led me to this moment. So I feel like, especially this generation, a lot of people feel this pressure to, you know, go and pursue, and this kind of paranoia or stress around success. And yeah, I mean, to some extent, you want that pressure. You want to push yourself. You want to drive yourself to achieve and succeed and to create something more. But I think it's really hopefully driven more by curiosity, and this fact that you want to create something versus get something is what would hopefully drive my son or anyone else in a similar position.
And also choosing partners. This is an amazing, this is one of the things that you've just mentioned just now, is home to be with. The combination that built it, YouTube, is also not normal. 3 people from 3 different races, different shapes, different. How did that impact what you've done?
Again, you know, we should have thought about more of this stuff at the time. And even
we overthink.
Yeah, and even since then, and it just felt natural. I mean, we all enjoyed working together. We would get together and talk about what can we create after working together at PayPal. What can we do? What opportunities are out there? What things exist? And video came up as one of those things that looks like an interesting, not opportunity, but project that there wasn't very many video sites that existed at the time. How do we figure that out? How do we create something within this space that's solving some problems? And really just that collaborative process that you experience a lot here in Silicon Valley, just sitting down and working together, just getting on a whiteboard, starting talking through your ideas, start, just bouncing things off of each other. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong, kind of arguing for something that you believe in, and by the time you get the other person to believe in it, you've switched your mind and you think we should go the other way. There's a lot of those discussions that take place when in a startup, because again, no one really truly has the answers, and it's just a process of you trying to figure this out along the way.
Me and lots of people believe that you did something magical that changed a lot in the world, but especially the Middle East. You gave the Middle East something huge. It shows through the usage, and also we know how many things changed in our countries politically and different because of YouTube. So what can you give them more? What would you say a message to the Middle East, the young generation in the Middle East, and somewhere that seeks change, seeks progress? What do you tell them?
Well, in terms of YouTube specifically, I would say, don't just YouTube as a way to consume information or mindless content. Just don't be entertained, but to participate, to learn how to tell stories and share experiences, to share your talents, not only for your own region, but for the world. Figure out more how you can get more people involved and collaborate in that process. I do think that's one of the things that's missing on the internet and on YouTube, is more ways for people to actually collaborate together, to create things in a more effective way together. It's one of the things I've thought about, what would I create next? What would I do? I think there's a lot of opportunities. There are people around the world that have different talents. How do you allow them to communicate and collaborate and create more effective stories, more effective pieces of content, of reaching other people in the world, and not just doing it within these silos. So I would say, yeah, my broader message is just participate.
This is a beautiful trophy. When we wanted to create the place,
yeah.
Can you tell us about this, especially this piece?
Well, I guess bankers have this tradition of creating a plastic block when they close deals, and that's what they bestowed on us. Not only did we close a large deal getting acquired, but they gave us a plastic trophy along the way. So, I guess it's a way for them. They try to collect these blocks and put them on the shelves and feel special.
So, because we have another trophy, and we're happy with that. If that was the trophy that they gave you for creating YouTube, then our gift would be nice.
All right.
So nothing special, but this is a thing that we give all power owners that we meet, that share their experience with us. This is for you.
Great.
This reflects the identity of the program. It talks how we travel all over the world to meet people that did change, that did a great change. And just to say a conclusion, what have you really changed in the world?
What have I changed? Well, indirectly through YouTube, and not necessarily on purpose, but we've created a worldwide stage for an audience, a global audience, to not only consume but actually participate in the process. In a way, yes, we've tried to accomplish that goal of democratizing the video experience, and hopefully we've achieved that to some extent. There are some bumps along the way, and Google's trying to figure those out as we speak. But I think we've added, made a positive change and allowed more people to participate in this process.
Well, you deserve this and more. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you very much for giving us the chance to know you more as a person. I really was glad to meet you and to have this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. رغم أن تشاد حقق معجزة اسمها يوتيوب إلا أنه قمة في التواضع. شكرا تشاد لأنك جعلت من الإنجاز العظيم أمر بسيط بمعادلة سهلة. اصنع ما تحب تحقق أكبر الإنجازات. فعلا أنا سعيد بحسن تقييم جوجل لما أنجزه هو وشركائه، لأنه إنسان يستحق. شكرا على المتابعة.